Prost! Hallo und willkommen zurück zu Hablar Patata. If you're hearing any weird noise, it's probably my stomach bubbling because I drank so much water. But what does this have to do with our today's class? Nice guess! Exactly! Today we will talk about the different ways of how to pronounce the letter R in German. So for many people, German sounds quite harsh, right? And this letter over here is one of the reasons why sometimes German sounds harsh. But actually in many situations people make a huge effort to pronounce this letter and it's not even necessary. So let's look into this. Here we have a list of words that contain the letter R that we actually have to pronounce like R. So this comes from the throat. So how can we differentiate and how can we know when we have to pronounce the R like this? So first of all, the R, when it is followed by a vowel, we have to pronounce it like R. And in the last video, we spoke about the syllabus that will also help us to differentiate, okay? So when you analyze these words, you will find that the R is usually at the beginning or almost beginning of the word or the syllable, and it is followed by a vowel. So in this case, we have to pronounce it like R. Let's go through the vocabulary. I noted down the articles here, but this is a topic that we will get into in one of the next videos, okay? So the first word is der Raum. So this would be the room or space. Der Regen, the rain. Das Restaurant, and we can see that we have 3 syllables, right? Restaurant. So we have the R at the beginning of the syllable followed by a vowel, so we will pronounce this like R. And another thing, this here is nasalized, okay? We don't say restaurant, we say restaurant, okay? The next word is a verb, and it also has 3 syllables, beraten, okay? This would be something like to advise somebody, okay? And there's another hint. If you remember or if you did see the second video, you will know that this means that this is an irregular verb. So I would conjugate it this way. Ich berate, but du berätst and sie es berät, okay? This verb is nothing new, sprechen, okay? Then we have the verb brauchen, which would be to need. Here we have fahren, okay? And this is also irregular and it's not new. And then we have the word Fachzeitschrift, which would be like a trade journal or a professional journal, okay? Perfect. Now we already know in what situation we have to pronounce this letter like R, coming from the throat, right? But how in hell can we practice this pronunciation? So I don't have a universal remedy, but my strategy is this. Get a cup of water, hide in the bathroom, and practice. Der Raum, Regen, Restaurant, beraten, sprechen, brauchen, fahren, Fachzeitschrift. I know, this probably looks a lot easier than it actually is, right? But don't stress yourself. It's a start. You can keep practicing the sound, but even if you're not able to pronounce the R like this, people will understand you. And actually it depends much on the region that you are in Germany. You will find a lot of different ways to pronounce the R, okay? So this is probably going to be the fun part of the video because this is so easy. So the first word is die Fahrt, which is the noun for the verb fahren. Fahren has 2 syllables, right? Fahren. And here the R is at the beginning of the second syllable and followed by a vowel, right? Here the R is at the end of the word, which has actually just one syllable, Fahrt. So in this case, we will pronounce this more like an A. So in this case here, in this word, this sounds like a very much prolonged A, die Fahrt, okay? The second word is der Bart, which would be the beard. Der Gurt, which would be the belt. Der Informatiker, which would be the computer scientist. Gern is what you answer when someone says Danke, thank you. This is like with pleasure, welcome, okay? And you can see the R is almost at the end of this word, gern, so it will be gern, okay? Here we have a typical intro. When you write an email, for example, and you know that the person you write to is a male, you will write sehr geehrter Herr and the last name, okay? So this R, this R, this R, and these two R's will be pronounced like A, okay? The German A, okay? So sehr geehrter Herr, okay? Here we have the verb vergessen. This is a typical, what we call prefix, okay? So it's a typical beginning of verbs. You will find this in many other verbs, and we will always pronounce this like ver. Vergessen, we already saw this in the other video. It means to forget, and it is an irregular verb. So I will say ich vergesse, du vergisst, sie es vergisst, okay? And then we have werfen, two syllables, werfen, which would be to throw. And this verb is also irregular, so I will say ich werfe, du wirfst, sie es wirft. So this is all for today. I hope by this I could take away a little bit the pressure from you. Not all the words in German are pronounced like okay? There are some words that are actually quite smooth. Now I have two more examples for you where we have to be aware of the syllabus, okay? So we had this word over here, Informatiker, computer scientist, Informatiker, right? So the word ends on the R, which we will pronounce like an A, right? Here we have the female version of this profession when it ends on IN, in German EN. So here the syllables actually change. I will say Informatikerin. That makes the last syllable start with the R, okay? And the R is followed by a vowel. So here you actually have to pronounce the R. And then I have this verb here that contains both sounds, just one right after the other. So here we will say verraten, okay? Verraten is an irregular verb, so I will say ich verrate, du verrätst, sie es verrät. And this means basically to betray or to reveal a secret. At the end of this video, you will find, as usual, some exercises that will help you to practice the pronunciation and to learn more vocabulary. And I recommend you to go through all the things that we already learned, because in the next video, we will have a small exam, okay? So, I'm gonna say Tschüss und habt einen schönen Tag. Richtig. Der Bericht. Die Richterin. Treffen. Mitbringen. Rechts. Die Früchte. Die Tiere. Erklären. Schreiben. Arabisch. Erwarten. Der Richter. Die Ärztin. Verkaufen. Der Tiger. Erzählen. Die Kinder. Berlin, die Muttersprache, fordern, Portugiesisch. Der Regen. Heute regnet es. Wir treffen uns am Eingang. Der Rucksack. Der Rucksack ist rot. Ich bin müde. Ich brauche Kaffee. Die Reise. Wir reisen im Januar nach Rumänien. Einladung. Am Wochenende feiere ich meinen Geburtstag. Die Karotten. Die Karotten sind orange. Meine Muttersprache ist Deutsch. Erzähl mir eine Geschichte. Das Buch, die Bücher. Vergiss nicht deine Bücher. Der Mülleimer. Der Mülleimer ist leer. Der Becher. Ich hätte gern einen Becher Kaffee. Der Computer. Er verkauft seinen alten Computer. Wir fordern Gerechtigkeit.